really hate you, but I cannot live without you if I try. I can't imagine life without you, ice cream.
Hello everyone, Phil here, and I have a pretty important subject to talk about. In fact, in the future moving forward, when I find that there is someone with huge influence on the internet, i.e. a big YouTuber or e-celebrity or whoever it might be, and they're going to be publicly saying something about me that I know to be factually untrue but could be detrimental to myself or my business, if it's harmful to me and my livelihood, I'm going to make a video like this to call it out. Now, in particular, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is a specific occurrence that happened earlier this week that really left me heated, insulted, upset, because it's completely and utterly false, and anyone who may have heard this kind of out of nowhere might say, wow, that's true about Darkside Phil. Well, I'm certainly not going to watch his videos anymore, especially in regards to what I've been covering this past week, so allow me to explain the situation to you. First off, before I get started, I want to let you know that moving forward, if something like this happens, I'm going to make a video about it like this, because when I have a chance to make an edited video, put in the evidence and stuff that basically sticks up for myself and defends myself against ridiculous negative accusations against me, this is the way to do it. Not on Twitter, not on a pre-stream, willy-nilly, and I will publicly admit right now that in this particular situation, I went about it the wrong way and initially started tweeting, and then I talked about it on my pre-stream today, then I got into a Twitter argument with this particular individual, which I should not have done. I should have known better and just made a video about it to fully explain what was going on. I screwed up. I publicly apologize for that. If you do follow me on Twitter today, you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's my fault. I shouldn't have gotten into it. I should have let it go. From now on, this kind of video will be made to explain the situation, so here goes. Okay, so as you know, I've been covering the release of Street Fighter V all this week, and I really am liking the game when it works. We all know at this point, Street Fighter V's launch was a big fail. The online components didn't work, the game was bare bones with almost no features, just common things that you would expect to be in the launch of a fighting game didn't exist. And everyone has been coming out to be critical of this game, whether they're fighting game players or not. Everyone can have a consensus on the internet and say, this game sucked at launch, what the hell happened, Capcom, or Dimps, or whoever it was that actually developed the game. In particular, the person who I have to address in this video made a video earlier this week regarding the botched launch and the very shoddy, not very plentiful features of Street Fighter V on its launch. But in the video, decided to make an insult and a reference to me as a name drop during this segment where he's complaining about one of the shortcomings of the game. It's completely false, 100%. I have the evidence to prove it, and I'm going to talk about it right now to clarify. Then after I talk about it, I'm going to tell you what happened today, which is my fault, and then we're going to get this all sorted out. So the person who I'm talking about is Alpha Omega Sin on YouTube. Now, to make this clear, I don't watch the guy's videos, I don't know much about him, I know who he is, and I know the style of video that he makes, but I certainly am not a follower or anything of him. In fact, I'm not a follower of anyone on YouTube. I've made that abundantly clear over the years. I'm busy with my own stuff. I really don't watch YouTube videos. I just am too busy making my own, okay? In his Street Fighter V rant video about how this game was unfinished at launch, for about a 30-second period, he addresses rage quitters. Now, you can watch word for word what he says for yourself. I'm actually going to put a link to his video in the description of this one, so you can go watch for yourself. And by the way, wow, I don't care if he gets a couple thousand extra views off of this. Who gives a shit? I need to have the evidence shown right there, purely. I believe it starts around 3 minutes and 30 seconds and goes on until about the 4-minute mark. I'll summarize, but you can watch it word for word out of his mouth. His summary is this. Street Fighter V doesn't have a feature that punishes rage quitters. Anyone who you're playing against in Street Fighter V can just quit the match right in the middle, in particular if they're losing and they don't want to lose or have the loss count in an online ranking system, and no one gets punished. So right now, Street Fighter V is rife with people who are playing, oh, I'm losing the match, they pull the plug, they quit the match, and it doesn't count. Now that's unfair to the person who's winning the match, and it basically makes right now online play for competitive purposes kind of pointless. You can't trust the ranking system in the game because of this. Now, that's the shortcoming of Street Fighter V that he's addressing in his video. However, how he goes about it is completely wrong and erroneous. He says that rage quitting is an issue in this game. He says, don't you hate it when you're playing a game online and you're fighting someone and there's a guy who's losing and he's making all these fucking excuses and he won't take credit for his loss. You know, it's never his lack of skill or whatever. There's always an excuse. And then they pull the plug. You know, like the Darkside Phil. Don't you hate when he pulls the plug on the end? Now, that's paraphrasing. But basically, that's the segment he talks about. Then he goes on to explain how there's no punishment in Street Fighter V for rage quitters, okay? What is wrong with this statement? Very simple. I have never rage quit, period, in Street Fighter. Now, people will make all kinds of arguments that we're going to address. I told you I'm going to have concrete evidence. The first thing I'll address right up front. But Phil, you've quit games before. You've gotten very angry. And just recently you were angry at the Bloodborne DLC and you quit it before you even beat the first boss and all that. That has literally nothing to do with the conversation. This conversation is in particular when it comes to Street Fighter V, online gameplay, and rage quitting out of a match. I have never done it during a match that was serious. And what I mean by that is you will find one instance on the internet where I actually did drop out of an online match. I can show it to you right now. In fact, it's playing right here. And it's funny because during this whole situation this week, I kind of came out on Twitter. I said, I've never rage quit. I don't know why people are saying that I've rage quit. And someone posted up this particular video. That video in question is from my April Fool's 2013 special, where I purposely did it as a joke for April Fool's because I never do it. That was the joke. Is that, oh God, it's April Fool's and now Phil's rage quitting on people in Street Fighter. So the video is completely out of context and makes absolutely no sense. Funny how people will steal my content again and upload it on their channel out of context to try to make me look bad, when in reality, it makes sense when it's in context. So if you scour the internet, the thousands upon thousands of fighting game videos that I've uploaded to YouTube, you will never find a competitive match of online gameplay in a fighting game where I pulled the plug and quit out and didn't give someone credit for the win. It just simply doesn't exist. Now, I'm sure people now, because I've said this, are scouring the internet and maybe they'll find one. The bottom line is this: thousands of matches, no one has the right to call me an infamous rage quitter and name drop me and use me as an example of a horrible rage quitter. I'm the complete antithesis. In fact, if you actually watched my videos over the years, you would know I fucking hate rage quitters. I detest them. They're the worst fucking players. They're cowardly yellow chickens. The only reason they're playing the game is to get popular and have that high ranking that really means absolutely fucking nothing in the realm of reality. And it's a joke that people care so much that they were going to pull at the end of a match simply because they got their ass whooped. Now, I've called people out on numerous occasions for doing it in videos. You know, people have gotten in my videos and done it and basically got infamous because of rage quitting. Why the fuck would I rage quit? And how could anyone pull that association out of their asshole and say that I am synonymous with rage quitting? It's completely false. Now, there's two things that I'll address. Number one, why am I bringing this up? Why is it such a big deal to me and my business that I need to bring it up? Very simple. Because right now I'm covering Street Fighter V all week. I haven't covered a major fighting game in almost a year with Mortal Kombat 10. And the bottom line is a lot of people don't really know me in regards to fighting games anymore. I fell out. I didn't cover fighting games like I used to way back in the day. 7 years ago when Street Fighter 4 came out, I covered the living shit out of that game. So it's a lot different now, and I need to get my name out there as someone who's covering Street Fighter 5 for my business. I'm playing it for a freaking week. I have plans to continue playing it in the future, and I want people to get excited for me playing this game and come to my channel and check out my videos. If I've got someone on YouTube who has so many people that follow them saying in a video that I am an infamous rage quitter, that is going to deter people from watching my videos. Think about it. If you follow this guy, Alpha Omega Sin, you watched this video, you never heard of me before, you heard that I'm a terrible rage quitter, all I ever do in every match of Street Fighter is complain and drop from the match, and then you're looking on YouTube for people playing Street Fighter 5 and you see Dark Side Phil, chances are you're going to say, well, Alpha Omega Sin said that guy's a fucking rage quitting asshole, and you're going to skip the video. It definitively hurts my business. It's slander. It's completely false. There is no evidence to back this up whatsoever, and I am not going to stand for it. There is no way that I'm just going to sit here and say, well, I'm just going to take it, because I'm tired of it. There are so many people who have made me the butt of these jokes on YouTube that I'm the example of the bad gamer. I'm the example of the one who does it wrong. That's why my business has had decline, because I don't speak up, and I don't get in the face of these people and say, you're wrong, now man up and apologize for lying about me. And that's literally what's happened in this situation, is I've been lied about in this video. My name was dropped for no reason whatsoever because it's not valid. If anything, you have to think the reason it was done was to get a rise out of people, so more people will check out this video because he name dropped Darkside Phil and talk shit about him. Let's start some drama on the internet, right? Because drama equals views, and that's what appears to have happened. I got dozens of people sending me this video, people asking me what's going on with Alpha Omega Sin, why is he insulting you in his videos, and I don't know. I've never, in reality, I have never mentioned this guy whatsoever. I don't know much about him. Why would I even mention him in a video? I've never said his name before today in a video. So the fact that this happened in the video is a blindsided, basically unwarranted attack against me and my business, and I'm not going to stand for it, and that's why I'm making this particular video, because I want people to understand the situation, to know it's untrue, and I'm not going to be putting up with this bullshit moving forward. Of course, since this whole situation came out, people are now saying other things. Oh, well, a rage quit means other things. It could mean that if you're playing a game and you just stop playing the game because you're angry at something happening, that's a rage quit. Listen, rage quit, the word itself, has changed and adapted over the past several years. As gameplay on the internet has evolved, so has the meaning of words. When you're talking about rage quit, in relation to competitive gameplay, it's as I described it. Being in some kind of a matchup where you drop before the end of the match so that the match result is not recorded, and therefore you invalidate the match. That's what rage quit means, and that's actually specifically what Alpha Omega Sin is addressing in his video, that Street Fighter V has no feature to punish people who do this and abuse the system. That's the point he's making. So, any other version of rage quit, if I quit another game, oh, here's this match of Injustice where I was playing as Zod, and I was mad because the guy was spamming guns against me, so I just walked forward the whole match and let him win the match. That's not a rage quit in the way that we're referring to it here. And if you think it is, and you are, I don't care what Phil says, you're wrong. So you can believe whatever you want, and you could be wrong for the rest of your life. What we're talking about here in Street Fighter V is not the same as anything like that. It's never happened, it never existed, and it's bullshit that people would ever try to associate me with this kind of nonsense on YouTube. Alright, so I was busy this week covering Street Fighter V, and playing it so much, I really didn't even have a chance to address this until after so many people had messaged me about it. Finally yesterday, last night, Thursday night on Twitter, I tweeted to Alpha Omega Sin. A big tweet, I used that Twit Longer website, and I basically said, listen, this is completely unfair and unjust for someone like you who has a big following on YouTube. It's not right for you to be saying stuff like this about me. I don't understand where it's coming from. You're completely wrong. If anything, if you think that I'm a rage quitter, you must have some kind of a casual understanding of online fighting games, because the bottom line is that's not what rage quit means in regards to a fighting game, and for you to name drop me like that in your video is insulting, it's hurtful to my business, and I think you owe me an apology, and if you're a man, you will apologize to me. And I left it at that last night. Okay. That was mistake number one, and I'll tell you right now, I shouldn't have done that. What I should have done, I should have waited to make this video. I didn't. My bad. I should have waited. I didn't. So, number one, 100% I will admit that was a mistake on my behalf. I should not have put that on Twitter. This morning, I woke up, and admittedly, after putting that tweet out last night and seeing some people's responses to it, I got pretty angry because, once again, I was bombarded with this fucking video of Street Fighter 4 that was a fake rage quit from my April Fools, with this fucking video of Injustice, of me not rage quitting, but people saying it's a rage quit, and I'm just like, I fucking had enough. Like, I'm tired, because people will try to spin anything to make me look bad at this point, and if it's gonna hurt my business, like this definitively will, I can't put up with it anymore. I have to defend myself. So this morning on my pre-stream, again, a mistake. I shouldn't have done this on my pre-stream. I should have waited for this video, but I digress. On my pre-stream this morning, I got very heated. I basically recapped all the stuff that I just told you, okay? I didn't have video corroboration at the time, and I certainly wasn't as calm as I am right now. I was incredibly pissed off, and I was like, there's people who've insulted me on Twitter, and there's motherfuckers who say shit about me everywhere, and I use lots of profanity, and yada yada yada. And ultimately, what I said in the video, which, by the way, you can now listen to for yourself, you'll see how heated I was. It's in the description of this video. I put a link to it, so listen to it for yourself. I said, I'm not putting up with bullshit anymore. If someone's gonna lie about me on the internet, and it's gonna hurt my business, I'm gonna call the people out, and I'm going to make a video just like this one to defend myself, okay? Now, I used profane language. I said, I will tear these people a new asshole and shove it down their throat and all kinds of stuff like that, which meant I'm going to call them out and basically embarrass them in a video. Well, of course, what's going to happen when I use profane language? People are going to now we can twist it again. We got Phil again. We twist that shit on him again, and we make it look like he did something else he didn't do. So now, the issue, because of what I said on pre-stream this morning, is no longer if I've rage quit. It's called a misdirection. And that's exactly what's happened here, is a big misdirection. So, oh shit, there's definitive and concrete evidence that Phil never rage quit. So what we need to do now is redirect to make him look like he's bad for something else. So now, people are trying to say that what I said in this pre-stream this morning was a physical threat to Alpha Omega Sin. Like, I was gonna fly out to where he lives. I don't know a fucking thing about the guy. I don't give a fuck where he lives. I'm gonna fly out there and fight him. Like, I'm gonna beat him up like a bully. I'm threatening him on the internet. And that's not what it is. If you listen to the whole pre-stream, you know that that's not what I said. I'm saying I'm calling these people out for lying about me, and I'm gonna make it public like this, in a video like this, so that people know the truth. That's what I said, only I said it with profanity that they're twisting now to make it say, oh, Phil said he's gonna physically attack Alpha Omega Sin. So here's what happened. I made this pre-stream this morning. I felt much better after I got it off my chest, and basically everyone who was in my stream chat at the time was like, we know Phil's never rage quit, and this was kind of legitimately him getting it off his chest. We're glad he did, and he can get on to Street Fighter. It just sucks that he was so angry, but it is what it is, right? Let's go. I start playing Street Fighter V online, and I start getting tweeted by Alpha Omega Sin. Now, obviously, he knows I'm on stream, but he does it anyway, right? Oh, and his tweets, to his effect, he sent, like, a ridiculous amount. I mean, just kept tweeting me. So I'm not going to go through every single tweet. If you want to see literally word for word what he said, go check out his Twitter. And I'm pretty sure he didn't delete the tweets. I hope he didn't. Go check him out, and you can see word for word what he said. But basically, he accuses me of saying that I am now going to go physically beat up him and everyone else who calls me out on the internet. Which, by the way, is not what I said. I didn't say you're calling me out. I said you're lying about me. It's one thing to call someone out for something they've done. It's another thing to blatantly lie and call someone something like a rage quitter that they're not, okay? So immediately he's wrong anyway with his tweeting. And he says, you know, I'm going to call, or Phil says he's going to beat everyone up. Then he tweets again, I would love to see this because I know there's a bunch of people who talk shit about Phil, and I would pay to see him beat people up. So, of course, I don't know what's going on. Between me trying to play the game and get matches and stuff, I'm tweeting him back, which I, again, shouldn't have done. And I will even publicly admit and apologize both to the people who follow me on Twitter and to Alpha Omega Sin for insulting him. Because there was a few times I said, man, I didn't know much about you, but if you actually believe this kind of stuff, you must be a moron. And stuff like that. I publicly insulted him because he was insulting me. He was calling me a physical threatening person. Like I had threatened to come beat the shit out of him when I hadn't. Okay? Then, after going back and forth a little bit, now he says, oh, well, I'll fight you. I want to fight you. Let's fight. Oh, you're a bitch. You're going to back out. You're not going to fight me. Now, this is almost a bully's mentality where someone's going to come and physically threaten you. If you don't fight them, you're a bitch, right? I've only heard this about 500 times in my life. And obviously, I am not going to give in to something like that. That's absolutely ridiculous, including the fact that I never physically threatened a guy to begin with. It just never happened. It was me using profanity and, allegories of calling people out on the internet for saying shit to me. Had nothing to do with physically attacking anyone. I'm gonna fly out to this YouTuber's house, and on camera, I'm gonna beat the shit. That's ridiculous. I'm not that stupid. I'm way older to be doing shit like that. That's stuff that, like, a teenager would do, because they're young, and they're rebellious, and they think that doesn't matter what happens to them when they go to jail. I got a nice life. I've got a girlfriend who loves me. I got a beautiful house. It's not worth going to jail over someone talking shit about me on the internet, but it is worth it to defend myself in a video like this. So I publicly admit I went about this the wrong way. I shouldn't have done this stuff on the pre-stream. I should not have been responding back and forth with Alpha Omega Sin on Twitter. I certainly should not have insulted him and gotten into a public argument with him about it. The way that it basically ended was I just told him, no, I'm not going to do it, even though he said that he was going to now do a charity drive, and it would be a charity fight where all money was raised for charity. I told him, I'm not going to fight you. Literally, all I said to him in response multiple times was, I want an apology for you lying about me. Of course, he would never address that on Twitter. He just kept going back to the fact that somehow I physically threatened him, and he wanted to fight me. And we left it at that. After 2 hours of going back and forth on Twitter when I was trying to run a Street Fighter V stream, we kind of left it at that. And at this point, I'm just like, it's so stupid. And I almost get the feeling like the two of us are kind of alike, where we both feel so adamantly that we're so right about the situation that instead of actually, like, listening to reason or talking to each other about it, that we take our two hard heads like this and we smash them together like two rocks. And last time I found, when I smashed two rocks together like this, nothing ever got resolved. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there's a lot of people on YouTube that are like that. You know, you get a little bit of an ego when you're on YouTube. I'm certainly one of those people. You get a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You're like, yeah, I'm in the right, so therefore I'm going to keep fighting for it. And you go back and forth. And the bottom line is it should have never been handled the way that I handled it. It should have never gone on Twitter. It should have never been in a pre-stream. It should have just been me talking in a video. And the bottom line is if I didn't lose it like I did earlier today, it would have just been this video and me giving you the examples and not even talking about the second half of it. So I publicly admit I screwed up on that front. Okay, so that's the situation going on with this whole thing. So, let's talk a little bit more about the future. Alright, let's talk turkey, because the bottom line is, I know that my business on YouTube has been negatively affected massively by the negative shit that people have put out there about me. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Alpha Omega Sin has never watched my videos and has seen tons of negative montages instead where I'm yelling and screaming and complaining. Since I played Street Fighter V this week, okay, there's probably been maybe 10, maybe 15 or 20 tops of instances of me complaining or screaming at the game, while as of right now, I think I've recorded over 100 videos. So I'll openly admit, yeah, I do it, but it's certainly not the thing you abundantly see. But when you see something in a montage like that, that's only showing you the bad side, you get a bad impression about someone. And quite honestly, yeah, a lot of people like to see me as the whipping boy of YouTube, the guy who is easy to make fun of. He's the easy target because legally, apparently, he has no leg to stand on. He's certainly not going to sue everyone who says something bad about him because he's not rich. And it's an easy target because everyone seems to have gotten popular by doing it, so I might as well do it too. It's really just become an epidemic. And there's obviously nothing I can do to stop it. But what I can do is when I see a definitive situation like this where someone's going to be blatantly wrong and say something that could hurt my business, I'm going to make a video like this one where I'm calm and composed, take some time to get the steam off before I film the video, and then I'm going to show you the evidence in front of you. The bottom line is this. I am not a rage quitter in Street Fighter or any other fighting game. I hate rage quitters. I 100% am against the practice of rage quitting. I'm very disappointed that Street Fighter V does not have an anti-rage quitter feature. And the bottom line is I'm pretty much in agreement with most of the negative stuff that everyone's been saying about Street Fighter V, including Alpha Omega Sin. The only reason I had to bring this up is because I think the way that he name dropped me in his video is harmful to myself and my business because it is 100% false, it is slanderous, and I'm not going to put up with it. Now, I went about it reacting the wrong way, and I publicly apologize yet again to anyone who follows me on Twitter, to anyone who is on on my pre-stream this morning, anyone who was caught up in the drama of the situation, and to Alpha Omega Sin for insulting him on Twitter today, where I do feel that I was in the wrong. And of course, also, if he feels that I did physically threaten him in my pre-stream, which was not what I was saying I'm going to make a video like this to disprove people and tear them a new asshole in a video so that I can defend myself. Because the bottom line is, I can't continue to have constant slander against myself and my business and just say, oh, just let it go. Because I have. Again, this is the first time I'm really bringing up a major YouTuber, and, you know what I mean? I have to at this point. I have to start doing it. I cannot operate a business, and have it continue to thrive when common people coming to YouTube who don't know who I am immediately get a negative impression of me because people are literally talking shit that's untrue about me constantly, you know? And it's funny because there's always a thread of truth, right? There's always a thread of truth in the things that people say. Yeah, I do complain when I play Street Fighter because I'm one of the few people who will call out the bullshit of the game developers. With their bad netcode, their terrible connections, I will call out nonsense when I see it. The bottom line is, I am a tournament-worthy player in Street Fighter. I have been. You cannot deny if you look at facts. If there's actually people, and this is a perfect example, there's actually people on the internet who think I'm terrible at Street Fighter. That there's no Street Fighter I've ever been good in, that I'm a scrub, and I only got famous by complaining in videos. Not that I was a former pro Street Fighter player, I placed at EVO Nationals, as well as won multiple EVO qualifiers, as well as traveled the country for years playing Street Fighter and placing top in tournaments, right? This is all factual stuff that if you go to shoryuken.com or you go to tournament result websites, you will find my name in tournament results. But people don't look at that. They just hear, Phil sucks at fighting games, and they take that as fact. Because I never stood up in a video and said, here's the evidence that I don't suck. You're just listening to fucking nonsense and jealous people or nasty people or whatever the reason that they're making this video to make themselves popular. I don't really give a shit. The fact is, it's slanderous stuff. And that's the problem, is now there's this big mentality that I'm bad at everything I do. I'm bad at Street Fighter. I'm a rage quitter. What else could it be? There's been so many negative things said about me. I mean, preposterous, insane things, but people believe it. And I'm not going to sit here and be the bitch of YouTube anymore. I'm going to stick up for myself. If I hear preposterous shit from someone out there who has some kind of a voice and some kind of clout, and it's going to definitively hurt me or my business, you're going to see a video like this in the future. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. Undoubtedly, this will probably be talked about that I made this video. At least now you have my side. You have my factual evidence to prove that the things that were said about me are false. Obviously, everyone's going to make a judgment for themselves. There's still going to be people who refuse to believe the truth, even with the facts in front of their face. I can't help it, but at least if I get my side of the story out there, you don't have to hear it from the same people, right? Constantly harping on me and saying negative shit. And since I don't say it, the bottom line is, silence is consent. A lot of people always kind of said that around, you know, the world. Silence is consent. If someone does not speak out against something, it means that they're okay with it. Well, I'm not okay with it. It's just that I don't want to spend all day, every fucking day, making a video like this. I've got games to play, I've got videos to make, and quite honestly, I don't want this to become the entirety of who I am, sitting here defending myself against ridiculous accusations. But in a case like this, I have to, and I'm not gonna go crazy on Twitter or pre-stream. I'm gonna leave it for a video, so that way, it all gets fleshed out properly. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope that this clarified the situation. I once more will apologize for going about it the wrong way and saying things that may have been hurtful to anyone. Sorry, I'm gonna do better, and this is the way I'm gonna handle it from now on. Thank you for watching. See you later.
You're so creamy, and I wish you never ended, ever. I can't imagine if you ended ice cream.